to Brewing Success, where growth is the mission, change is the reward, and progress is the goal. I am your host, Andrea Gebhardt. I'm a former educator turned passionate entrepreneur whose desire to create impact has never wavered. I have spent the last decade teaching, mentoring, and coaching people on how to create success in their lives and businesses with proven strategies and systems that not only bring about change, but big results. When it comes down to it, teaching is my specialty, leadership is my jam, and inspiring you to live a bigger, fuller life is what I'm all about. This podcast will give you the knowledge and tools you need to brew success in almost any area of your life. You're going to walk away each week feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to step outside your comfort zone and into the next level of who you're meant to be. Now let's get into today's episode. Last week, we talked about the relationship between change and commitment, and it sparked a lot of conversation about commitment, what it really means, and so many of our community members, so many of you guys reached out via DMs on social, via emails, really questioning your own understanding of commitment. And I spent a lot of time in a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, and they were just having these aha moments in their own life and in their own journey about why something didn't work out, or why they've always struggled with their weight, or why they've been having trouble in this area, and why they haven't really been able to master changing in that arena. And it created a lot of questions around, whether or not they fully understood commitment and what commitment really meant. And I got into conversations about the phases of commitment and what people miss. And that kind of actually is why we're here today. I had to deviate from the plan a little bit. The episode I had planned for this, I had to bump because there was so much incredible conversation around this that I thought, I have to stop and I have to teach this. I have to make sure everybody has this information because it's so important and so crucial to understand when it comes to change. And the episode that we had made so many of you realize that maybe you weren't really actually fully committed, and how that played a role in what didn't happen and how that made you feel, and how having a better understanding of commitment might really help you make the changes that you need to make in order to become who you need to become to reach the goals that you're trying to reach. So with that being said, we're going to take the topic of commitment and we're going to dig a little deeper into the phases of commitment, actually the 5 phases of commitment, so that you have a full understanding of what it means and what it takes to actually commit to something in such a way that results and benefits are inevitable. Again, I just have to say that I am so glad that we are doing this work now, that we can stop and pause and reflect and think about our personal levels of commitment to the things that matter to us, evaluating the challenges we experience and questioning whether or not those challenges are because of what we are doing or how we are doing it. Bottom line here, commitment level in anything often matches your success level in everything. And like I said last time, change takes place when commitment takes root, and roots grow in phases. And this is the part where I would like to pretend like I am some plant connoisseur, but I'm not. I have like 2 houseplants as of last year. One I purchased for myself. Like, I feel like I need to be a big girl. I would just turn 40. I was like, I feel like I really need to be 40 and have a houseplant. So I got a houseplant. It's an umbrella tree actually, and it's beautiful and I love it. And then I was gifted a propagation, which is thriving, by the way. So I feel like a champion. So I think every year of life for the rest of my life, I'm just going to add a houseplant. Just kind of like put a stamp on that level of maturity. But with that being said, I would love to be able to make all kinds of really cool plant analogies throughout this entire episode, but I won't because I just am not knowledgeable enough. However, I will say that I do have some knowledge. I mean, remember, I was a teacher, so I know all about the plant cycle, like life cycle. I've gardened. I understand that roots grow. There's different types of roots, and that the stronger the roots are, the stronger the plant is. And so I want you to understand that the stronger your level of commitment is, the more likely you're going to experience the changes that you're looking for. So I guess at the end of the day, or at the end of this episode rather, what I really truly want for you is to realize that You are capable. You're worthy. You are deserving. You have what it takes. You have what it takes to accomplish your goals, create meaningful, long-lasting, positive change in your life, and you have it in you to pursue your dreams. We were given the dream. We were all given a dream. Now we got to put in the work, and that is where commitment kicks in. So there are 5 phases of commitment. These phases are all related and represent, if you will, a level of depth to the route that commitment has the ability to take, meaning the more phases you enter, the more likely change will occur. So here are the phases. I'm going to share them with you, and then I'm going to go and break them down and help you understand how they work and work together for you, and how and what you might begin to learn and understand about yourself is that maybe you didn't really just fail at what you were trying. You just failed to go through a phase of commitment that robbed you of the ability of the change. That resulted in an inability on your behalf to fully commit in the way that you intended to. And I love that because it kind of takes the pressure off. It takes us from a place of thinking, well, maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe I'm not good at that. Maybe I'm not capable of that. Maybe that's not a part of my journey to, maybe I just wasn't committed enough. Maybe I didn't understand what real commitment needed to look like in order to create the change that needed to take place to accomplish that goal or whatever it might have been. So phase 1 is the realization phase. This is when you're like, something needs to change. And you understand what it is. A lot of times, especially for women, we have a lot of realization phase in our closets. A lot of realization phase when we're getting dressed, right? You go to, it was all winter and, early winter, we're wearing sweats, we're wearing leggings, we're wearing comfortable joggers. And then springtime comes around and you bust out that pair of shorts and you're like, oh, realization. These are a little tight. Right? Or you go to put on that first swimsuit and you're like, oh, yeah. Lots of realizations happen, We have those realizations. Realization can happen when you open up your fridge and all the veggies and the fruits that you bought went to waste. The realization that we don't eat as many fruits and vegetables as we should throughout the week. So something's got to change. I got to incorporate them into more of the cooking or to more of the kids' lunches, whatever it is. There's that realization stage when we identify that what needs to change and what we need to do to change it. Okay. The second phase is the willingness phase. This is the decision and inner agreement to take the necessary actions. Phase 3 is the action phase where there's commitment to the daily actions that compound over time. Phase 4 is the reward phase where we have created now at this point a little bit of self-proof, and the commitment to the outcome becomes cemented. And then phase 5 is kind of like the identity character phase, where now you're just in momentum with yourself. And it's now about working to be, and what you're working toward is becoming a part of who you are and what you value. It's really interesting how that part of it happens. You only begin to seek change in an area of your life when you realize that change is needed. Maybe you realize you're not in that good a shape when you're trying to keep up with your kids at the park. Maybe you realize that you need to take better control of your finances because you're always a day late and a dollar short. Maybe you realize that your relationship is in trouble because there's more conflict than there are compliments. Maybe your business isn't growing like you thought it would, and you realize that something needs to be different. Maybe you realize that you're exhausted all the time and something about your sleep routine needs improvement. Whatever it is only when we realize that change is needed that we seek change. Unfortunately, however, a lot of people get stuck right here in phase 1. They get right here and they get stuck, and they pause. And they pause in what I call ponderland, where they're pondering change, pondering outcomes, pondering how to go about it. They're just stuck kind of thinking about what they're going to do and how it's going to turn out. And if they even can, they just get stuck in this this pondering phase, this thinking phase. So many people realize, this is the thing though, so many people realize that change is needed, but very few actually do something about it. Very few. Think about it. We've all been there where we go to put on that dress that fit last summer and you go to put it on and it's snug. Ladies, I'm talking, you're bending your shoulders back, trying to get it zipped up. It's a little tight. It's a little uncomfortable. And you know that it doesn't fit probably because you didn't work out. You hadn't been sticking to your clean eating. You maybe indulged in a few extra treats or whatever it might be. And so what happens? You just put that dress back up in the closet and you go back to the way that you were doing things instead of saying, oh, well, maybe this is a sign that I got to get back in the gym, or I need to start walking again, or I need to kick that soda habit to the curb, or we need to stop eating out as much. Like I said, most people realize that change is needed. Very few actually do something about it. A lot of people get stuck at level 1. They just realize it, but they don't take any action. So 1, we realize and identify an area that needs change. Then we advance to phase 2, the willingness phase. Are you willing to do what it takes to get what you want? Most people want success. Most people want, financial security. Most people want to be in shape. Most people want the big house, and most people want this, that. But most people want those things. But very few people are actually willing to do what it takes to get there. And I had this conversation with my daughter today. She actually got these really cool Taylor Swift. She's a huge Taylor Swift fan. She has been since she was 2. I have the cutest video of her barely singing along. It's adorable. And so she got these little Taylor Swift poster things that she could put in her room for Christmas. And so we actually just today got to hanging them up on the wall. And she was like, man, Mom, Taylor Swift is so lucky. She's so smart and she's so beautiful and she's so talented and she's so rich and she's so famous. And, she never has to worry about money. She donated $1 million to the tornado victims recently. She gave $100,000 bonuses to each of her truck drivers. It must be so nice to just be able to go and this and that. She was going on. And I said, yeah, but when you look at, it's easy to look at where she is without seeing all of the things that she's gone through, all of the things that she's endured, all of the hard work, all of learning how to play guitar, writing music, leaving high school at 16, changing in her normal teenage life for, this singer-songwriter track, and everything, from doing mall shows to sold out stadiums to being in the public eye, loved and hated all at the same time. I'm man, yeah, it's amazing what she's accomplished, but let's not forget that, she's, I think 34 years old, or maybe 32, somewhere in there. And it's this much in the making. How many years in the making of the day in, the day out, the striving and failing, the successes, the losses, the love, the hate, all of it. Let's look at all of that. And she's like, yeah, I guess that's kind of hard to think about sometimes. Yeah, we all want to be the star quarterback. We all want to have the winning team. We all want to have all those things. But my goodness, let's not forget all the work, all the commitment it took to get there. Most people want, but a lot of people surely aren't willing. And, are you willing to do what it takes to get what you want? Are you willing to go to the gym regularly? Are you willing to eat healthier? Are you willing to take the time to make a budget? Are you willing to face the music about your spending habits? Are you willing to work on and improve your relationship? Are you willing to adjust your nighttime routine and forego doom scrolling to get better rest? The willingness phase. That's the true measure of change. You see, people get stuck here too. Many are wanting, very few are willing. Most people want to lose weight, but very few are willing to make the lifestyle changes it requires. Many people want to have more control of their finances, but very few are willing to be disciplined in their spending. Many people want to grow and succeed in their businesses, but few are willing to take the actions they need to take daily to create the sales that generate revenue. Phase 2 really is the defining line between the committed and uncommitted. Again, where a lot of people get stuck. Sometimes they start doing the things, but they're not willing to keep going. They're not willing to show up day in and day out without the results and the reward. That's why so many people fail with getting healthier and getting fit. They try something new for like 3 days, 7 days, 30 days. And because they don't, lose the 20, 30 pounds, because they don't walk out of the gym with a 6-pack, they're like, this sucks, not for me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. No, the real answer is you're not committed. That's the real truth. Face the facts, friend. That's what it's about. And that's the crazy thing is we want to blame those things. Like, listen, the gym works when you go and you go and you do what you need to do for a long enough period of time. Eating healthy works. So long as you do it consistently for a certain period of time, the results will start to kick in. But people sell themselves short on what it really takes to get where they want to go. Everybody wants the big results with the least amount of effort. Well, that is not how life works. That might be what life looks like on social media and in the movies, but that is not real life. A strong willingness has to exist. A willingness to give up the good for the great, a willingness to get uncomfortable, willingness to walk away from old habits and patterns that are unable to carry you forward and upward, willingness to let go of your old self so you can pursue the next version, willingness to put your ego aside, willingness to fight for what you deserve, willingness to go to battle each and every day against the noise so you can come out victorious, willingness to work for what matters most to you, putting actions in a place that add weight to the value and worth of the outcome, willingness. And I get this a lot, and I see this a lot, especially in the entrepreneurial space. I want to make an extra $500,000 a month. Okay, but are you willing to do what you need to do? Are you willing to do what you need to do? I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, but are you willing? Because wanting and willing are two completely different things. Willingness is what fuels the next phase. Phase 3, which is the action phase. And I will say that phase 3 is the tripping wire in the phases of commitment. Here's why. People realize where they need to make changes, phase 1. People are then willing to do the things, phase 2. And then they trip up on actually following through, aka phase 3. This is because this is where the change takes life. Realization is in the brain. Willingness is in the heart. And action brings it all into the physical, where the very human side of you gets involved. The side of you that wants the best for you and the side of you that has all the self-sabotage tactics ready for deployment. The tripping wire. This is why you hear most people say, well, I know what I need to do, but they don't do it. Have you ever had those conversations? I have them all the time with people. My business isn't growing. Da 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 ba 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 ba. Like my relationship, this, my blah blah. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, I'm like, well, what do you need to do? Well, I know what I need to do. Okay, well then why aren't you doing it? Oh, we just backslided into that phase 2, willingness. It's so crazy how these are interconnected and they work together. This is why I always say that both success and failure are a choice. People actively make the decision to fail when they do not choose to do the things they know they need to do. Phase 3, the intentional action phase. This is the phase. This is where we look at what we want, why it matters. And the third component is, what is it going to take to get there? So if the goal is to lose 10 pounds, that starts with a decision to cut out sweets, which means the daily decision to not eat sweets, the daily decision to eat more protein, the daily decision to exercise for a set amount of time. If the goal is to improve your relationship, then it's finding out what you need to do and who you need to become to improve the quality of the relationship, and then actually do the things daily that will lead to that. If the goal is to grow your business, then you need to get super intentional about spending time each day on the actions that are going to grow your business. The distance between where you are and where you want to be will always be based upon the actions you choose to take. And I love that statement, the actions you choose to take. Every action you do, good or bad, you chose. You chose it. Like, hi, we're all grown-ups here. Like, whenever we make a decision, we're not 12. Our rational thinking part of our brain is fully developed. When you take an action, good, bad, or indifferent, you choose that action. You choose it. You choose to go for the walk. You choose to lay on the couch. You choose to eat the apple. You choose to eat the donut. You choose to say something kind. You choose to say something mean. You choose to say hello. You choose to ignore somebody. Every action you choose. Every choice we make, we're either moving ourselves closer to success or moving ourselves closer to failure. We have to start taking responsibility for the actions we take and the outcomes that are a result of that. My question to you is this. Do you know what you need to do? Do you know what you need to do? Those goals that you have, like those areas in your life you want change. You already know what they are. I know you do. And they're probably things you've been trying to change for the last 2, 4, 6, 5, 10, 15, 20 or so years. And you've never gotten there. You've never actually achieved the change you desire because you weren't fully committed to the process of change. So you know what you want. Do you know what you need to do? And I know most of you do. We all do. We all do, right? But sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to like fall back into those old decision-making patterns. Sometimes it's easier to just go back to our old ways because like, we're not dead. Like, it's not terrible. It's not the best. Not really what I want it to be, but it's not terrible. So we get comfortable in this little space of like, I don't even know what to call it. Just bleh. Where we're doing the things, but they're not really moving us a whole lot closer to anywhere. They're just kind of, what's it called when a car is just not revving up or not, it's just idle. Yes, there it is. We're just idling. We're idling through life. What the heck? Who wants to idle through life? I'm literally blushing right now and I just got hot because I cannot, my brain is mad at me. Like, how did you not? I tried to give you that word and you were looking for something else. So embarrassing. Anyways, this show is like real. You guys know that. So that's what you get. But if you know what you need to do, then write it out. Write it out like a list. Write it out like a list. What are the actions? If you know you want to lose weight, what are the top 5 things you need to do? If you know you want your business to move forward, what are the things you need to be doing? If you want to improve your relationship, what do you need to do? If you want to have better rest, what do you need to do? If you want to be a better parent, what do you need to do? Think about those things. Write them down as a list. And make sure you put that list into action. Change requires change. Never forget that. Your current actions are never going to get you where you want to go. What actions do you need to take? And what's your plan to make it happen? When consistency with these actions compound, which usually takes about 90 to 120 days, by the way. Yes, change takes time. Change totally takes time. You're not Cinderella, but I am your fairy growth mother. Right? I wish I could wave a magic wand and just like help you get to where you want to go, but you got to do the work. You got to show up. You got to prove to yourself that it's possible. You got to break the chains that like your old self has on the part of you that wants to grow and evolve. You got to break those chains. And this is how I do it. Come into Brewing Success, grabbing these episodes, taking this information, putting it into use and growing. That's how we do it. But again, when consistency with these actions compound, which I will reiterate, takes about 90 to 120 days, you got to give yourself time to see the progress of what you're doing. I just wish people could get rid of, I want results now. I want magic now. I want weight loss now. I want better this now. I want this now. No, get rid of all of it. How about you just put your head down and you go to work with the process and you poke your little head up at 90 days and see how far you've come. And then you poke your little head up at 120 days and like give yourself a pat on the back for sticking with it. It's like my daughter. My kids are outgrowing me. By the way, it's totally unfair. I'm going to stop feeding them. No, I'm not, just kidding. Nobody call anybody on me. It's a joke. But literally every day she's been walking up to me, measuring herself. And I said, sister, you're not allowed to do this again until March. You're not allowed to do it again until March. Because you're literally maybe growing like a millimeter every single day. But can we stop doing this? Because it's annoying and I love you. And let's remeasure in March. Let's give it time, babe. We can come back in March and see if you're there. She's right there, by the way. It's crazy. So when the consistency of these actions compound, you will start to see results. And this takes us to the fourth phase, the reward phase. This is actually the fun phase. Actually the best phase of all of it. This is when you have been doing the right things for just enough time that you finally start to see the fruit of your labor. Your clothes are fitting better, your debt is being paid off, and you have a savings account, money for investing. You and your partner have a deeper connection, your business is growing, your income is increasing. This is the reward phase. We gain proof that what we're doing is actually working. And at this point, we increase our capacity for knowledge and credibility. We set bigger goals. We initiate this momentum within ourselves that we can do it, that we are capable, and real change is happening. And I love it because it validates the work. It validates the struggle. It validates the value of the goal or the dream that you're working toward. It feels good and it makes you feel like working to continue to grow and improve again and again. This is the rewarding phase of commitment. The reward phase is what gives birth to the fifth phase, the identity phase. The phase that takes place because what you once wanted to change is now a part of who you are, your identity, your character, how people know you. You went from someone who wanted to change your level of fitness, you wanted to change your health for the better, and now you are a healthy, fit person. You wanted to gain a better understanding of your finances and be in more control of it. You wanted change in your financial area, and now you are financially savvy and secure. You wanted to improve your relationship and be a better partner, and now you're an incredible partner and have an amazing, healthy relationship. You wanted to turn your business around. You wanted to generate more revenue. You wanted to build a bigger, stronger team. You wanted to become a better leader. And now you have an incredible business and you lead it well. Now you are a committed person. At this point in the phases of commitment, you have changed. The way you think has changed. The way you show up has changed. The way you move about has changed. The way you communicate with others has changed. It's really incredible. And this is like the most amazing part. This is where we want to get to it. This is what we want. And I think that this is a part that I love to see happen. I love to see this part happen. And I have had personal experience here. I remember when I started my fitness journey back in 2017, I used the excuse of having no having no time and having too many kids as to why I couldn't get to the gym every day, why I couldn't work out, why I couldn't focus on me, why I couldn't focus on my health. And I'll tell you, it was at a doctor's appointment when I was stinking, oh my gosh, 29 years old. And my doctor was like, hi, you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. You need to lose like 30 pounds. And I was like, excuse me? What? What do you mean? I'm like 29 years old. What are you talking about? What What do you mean? Come back in 90 days. We're going to talk medication. I don't take medication. What? And that was an awakening moment for me that I needed to like get it together. And so I started making some lifestyle choices in terms of what I ate for breakfast for every day, what I ate for lunch for every day, what dinner looked like. And, with that and some really incredible supplements, I was able to lose, 50 pounds. Actually, I was like hanging on to a whole bunch from the birth of my daughter. And I just started really working to feed my body and reduce inflammation. And it was just really incredible. And then I found myself, okay, great. I lost this weight, but man, like the boys want to run up and down the soccer fields and this is going on and that's going on. And the boys want to wrestle all the time. And my 5-year-old is stronger than me. This is not okay. So that's when I started working out at the gym. And I went from somebody who was nervous to do all of that, just started taking 1 class a week. And then that grew to 3 classes and then 5 classes. Before I know it, I'm the person that goes to the gym 5 days a week. That became a part of my identity, my character. And I started documenting my journey and I inspired other people to do the same. And now here we are, however many years later, it's been 7 years later. Oh, wow. Yay. Hooray. 7 years later on this journey, I am a fit person. I am a healthy person. That is a part of who I am. I still eat healthy. I still work out. I still do all of those things. Those things are priorities to me because it is a part of who I am now at this point. Now that was a 7-year journey. We don't get to decide how long the journey is or what it looks like. We just have to work through those phases of commitment in order to take the journey and make the journey. I love it because by the end of this phase, you are now a committed person. Because you've worked through all those phases, you are now can identify as somebody who is committed. And we know those people, right? We know those committed people in our lives. Man, they're so committed. And we know those uncommitted people. We know the difference. You know the difference. Have you ever heard the saying, grow so much that you always have to reintroduce yourself to the people around you? This whole episode kind of makes me think of that. These perpetual reiterations of ourselves based on growth and improvement. And I want that for you. I want you to constantly reintroduce yourself because you are committed to change, committed to growth, committed to going against the status quo and taking charge of your life. Stop allowing yourself to stay in the struggle when you have the ability to move into strength. And I say strength because it takes mental and emotional strength to see where you need change and then actually do something about it. It takes strength to stay committed to anything. There are more people out there who are more committed to their coffee addiction or their favorite sports teams than they are to what really matters in life. And listen, I want you to be able to look back over your life and see the progression, see the growth, and not just for the sake of reaching your goals and changing your own life, but for the impact it will have. You see, when you get better, everything around you gets better. When you level up, you create an example and you create room for others to do the same. Your change will inspire so many people, and that inspiration will fuel something incredible. I just know it. So what are you waiting for? Figure out where you want to see change and use these 5 phases of commitment to help you create it. After all, someone really wise once said, be the change you want to see. And if you translate that into like AG terms, that basically means you will never have what you want until you decide to become the person it takes to have it. Boom. You will never have what you want until you decide to become the person it takes to have it. 5 phases of commitment. I am telling you, this right here is going to change so much for you, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Promise me you're going to put this into action. Promise me you're going to put this episode in the hands of someone who needs to hear it. Promise me you will not let a day go by where you are not focused on your growth, your progress, and ultimately the change that you